That damn thing has a mind of its own. It quits when it wants to, y'all. Sorry about my crazy intro. Sometimes it'll go all the way down to 1, and sometimes it'll stop at 2 or 3. We just don't ever know. Welcome in and good Friday evening to you all. Welcome back in. I'm glad you could all come back in and join us. If you weren't with us earlier today, you can go back and catch that show on the replay. For those of you who were there today and came back for tonight's show, so much appreciation. Y'all hit the thumbs up button on the way in. Help get the show into the algorithm of it all, right? Y'all, I tried to take me a nap after my live stream earlier, and there is somebody out there with the entire phone call from the interview room, and I listened to it, kept dozing off when I'm like, wait, what did I just hear? Rewind, play again. So then I finally had to get up because I finally realized something. I'm not so sure that caller knew anything other than wanting to talk. And I heard some things in that call that I didn't get to hear when we were live. I was like, oh boy. Chris laid into that guy pretty hard. He flat out called him a liar. This ain't my first rodeo and all this stuff. You're not even telling me your real name. And like, I'd have hung up if I was the guy. I'm saying, I would have been like, dude, you're freaking me out a little bit. Bye. Which made me realize something, y'all. There's one point behind live call-in shows. How many times have we heard the killer called in to a live stream? The killer watched the live stream. The killer watched live streams about themselves. How many times have we heard the interview room tell everybody, I'm sure the suspect is watching? They all want to get that phone call, don't they? And who's to say they won't call? But I'm just saying, after I listened to a lot more of that read technique, anyone? I don't know. That was really bizarre and really strange for a cop to go that hard at somebody who might have been just a caller. He sure got a lot of information about that guy, though. I found out a little too much. Things that were concerning and questioning at the same time. I'll just have to put it that way. But damn, that was wild, y'all. If y'all did not hear all of that, I know Jay was live earlier and she presented it, but however you want to feel, you feel. But Dolly Vision's got the whole audio. And yes, I went there and I listened because I didn't go for Dolly, obviously, but I went to hear the audio call. I don't give a fuck who's got it. I'm going to go listen, right? So I went and listened. One thing Dolly said that I could agree with. Chris McDonough, you're no longer law enforcement. You're just a YouTuber like the rest of us. Hot diggity dog. But he's a YouTuber with some experience. Hey, Sandy, welcome in. Hey, Pammy, welcome in. Hawkeyes, welcome back. Mod team, welcome in. Thanks for being here again. What is this? SGH. I don't want to say that wrong. Hello. I don't want to be rude and say it wrong. Angel Eyes, welcome back. Welcome in. Welcome in. All right, guys, we're going to unpack this case of Aaron Spencer tonight. As I mentioned earlier today in the live stream, Defense Diaries is hosting a 10-hour, 12-hour fundraiser tomorrow live on YouTube. Unusual, right? But it's for like the defense funds, and we're going to explain why. And for those of you who haven't followed the case, I haven't followed closely. I'm just starting to unpack it, so we're going to unpack it together. I'm going to give you guys a little backstory on what happened, where they stand now. I had 2 documents pulled that I wanted to read because they had some pretty key information within the documents, but another document has dropped since then. A brief in the motion to dismiss the entire case. So we have that as well, and we're going to be taking a look at those things here this evening. I do have a media clip that we're going to take a look at first before we start reading the documents. How many of you in the chat have followed this story, or you're aware of what's actually happening there in this case against Aaron Spencer? Arkansas versus Aaron Spencer. It's quite the case. I've not seen one quite like this, right? Um, I don't know that I've ever seen one quite like this. The circumstances and the way people feel about it, right? It reminds me of back in the day, and I say way back in the day because I'm old, but Bernard Getz, the vigilante in New York who shot the guys on the subway. Do y'all remember that? Are y'all old? Are y'all old like me? Do y'all remember? Sometimes is homicide justifiable? You had Painted but Not Intensely. Yeah, I didn't know the backstory. When I started reading into it, I was like, holy cow, holy moly, what's going on here? So we're going to take a look at it. There's quite a bit that's happened with this case since it happened. Let me give you guys a little bit of a background on it. Um, in July of 2024, a man named Michael Fosler, I believe he was 67, if I'm not wrong about that, was arrested and charged with 43 felony counts, including the I'll have to say this word carefully because of the tubes, the grape of it all. SA, an internet stalking of Spencer's then 13-year-old daughter. 13 years old. 43 felony counts this man had. Despite all of that, now, a judge released the man on a $5,000 bond, but she imposed a strict no contact order. And women of domestic violence know exactly how good that little piece of paper really is, right? It means the world to you. Like, he can't just walk right through that piece of paper before the cops get there, okay? So if they let him out on $5,000 bond with a strict no contact order, that right there is that's our first problem. These are predators, grown ass, old, bald, fat men looking for little girls, and we're just going to let them out on bond and say, hey, don't contact them anymore. And they're going to be like, okay, I'm sorry. Oh, man. So that's what kind of started all that, right? And then time goes by. Go fast forward now to October 8th of 2024. The Spencers wake up. Their dog is barking. They wake up. Their daughter is gone. She puts a sweatshirt on or a hoodie on a stuffed animal in the bed to make it, look like she's in bed, but she wasn't. She's gone. They call 911, report her missing. He jumps in his vehicle and he goes to try to find his daughter. And guess what? He finds her in the man's pickup truck. He runs them off the road. He goes to retrieve his daughter. Altercation happens, obviously, and he shoots and kills Fosler, the man who he just caught with his daughter. Right? After he spotted the truck, is when he forced him off the road, like I said, and the shooting happened. So he ended up getting charged with second-degree murder, which involves purposely causing a death without premeditation. Now, some are going to claim that in the documents, they're going to try to claim it was premeditation because of some of the things Spencer said and did before all this. But we'll get into all of that. They also have some discrepancies because some of the evidence apparently was lost. A judge has had to recuse herself. She imposed a very strict gag order in the case, and the defense wanted it lifted. They go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court says, not so fast, you better unseal that case. See, not even the Supreme Court can get behind sealing up a case like that. Idaho, y'all listening? You listening? Seals can be dangerous, just as bad as unsealing. They should not get out on bond. And you would think the American people's voice would be enough to say, hey, we're tired of it. But I guess we better start paying attention to the laws that are passed within our own states and our own communities to deal with these guys. Make sure your state is doing all it can to put these guys where they belong. Kind of like the state of Florida wanted to do with Stephon Stearns, make him to be the first guy to go to the death penalty for what he did to a little girl. We took a plea deal instead. We didn't get that far. He would have been the first guy in Florida to go down under our new death penalty for what you did to that little girl. So see, my state, we got on board. Y'all petition your states to do the same thing. Letting these assholes out on bond. And then when something bad happens and a parent protects their child, you're going to throw the book at the child's parent, right? This case can invoke a lot of emotions, I think. Oh, my grandson's being a little loud out there. So there was some lost evidence, apparently, and during one of the pretrial hearings, detectives admitted that they mishandled and lost the physical SD card containing the front and rear-facing dash cam footage from Fosler's truck on the night of the shooting. So Fosler's the guy who was shot. He had a dash cam. They don't lost the evidence. The defense has argued this loss is a severe procedural failure, as the audio and video could contain exculpatory evidence showing what really happened in real time. Yeah. If this guy that was shot had a dash cam, front and rear facing, that could have recorded everything that went down and transpired, but it's lost, how did that happen? Like, heads should roll. That should not happen. I'm not happy with that. A petition advocating for his clearance was signed by 360,000 people, challenging public frustration over how his family's situation was handled. Spencer launched a campaign for Lonoke County Sheriff in a stunning political twist. Spencer won the Republican primary election, defeating the very incumbent sheriff whose department oversaw his arrest. Now, that's crazy, because the man is going to run for sheriff, and he's already beat the incumbent Republican, who was the sheriff at the time he was arrested. So let's watch this video, this news clip. Okay, let me get this all set up. Oh. Okay, let's share my screen here. It's from a local media station there. And we will hit play.
Did you ever think that you would be running for sheriff?
No. This is not a calculated step I've taken my entire life to get here.
Aaron Spencer made national headlines when he launched his campaign to run for sheriff of Lonoke County, Arkansas. That's because he's also charged with second-degree murder.
Thank you, man. When's your court date?
Probably not till later this spring.
While he's pleaded not guilty, Spencer readily admits to shooting and killing 67-year-old Michael Fosler, his teenage daughter's alleged sexual abuser. At the time of the shooting, Fosler was awaiting trial on dozens of charges, including sexual assault and internet stalking of a child, and had a no-contact order against Spencer's daughter. Ahead of his own trial, Spencer is advised by his lawyer to not discuss his case, but his wife previously said they thought their daughter had been kidnapped that night on October 8th, 2024.
It was the middle of the night when Spencer and his wife discovered that their daughter was missing, and court documents show he jumped in his truck to go looking for her, eventually finding her in this area right here. She was with Fosler, and this is also where the confrontation took place.
According to court documents, Spencer said he observed his daughter trying to exit Fosler's vehicle, but it appeared Fosler grabbed her and stopped her. Spencer said Fosler then exited his vehicle with an unknown object in his hand and lunged at him, and that's when he opened fire. His wife saying we 100% in the moment thought he had taken her to kill her because she was the only witness in Fosler's upcoming trial.
And your daughter specifically, how's she doing?
Things can be a little bit of a roller coaster at times. I think that's anybody who's dealt with trauma.
Just over a year from that night,
I'm announcing my candidacy to run for Lonoke County Sheriff.
When you decide to do this, you already are facing charges.
It was a very big decision, and it was a family decision.
What was her reaction?
And they were like, "You're crazy, right? You know, that's wild. Why would we do this?" Honestly, I think I was like a lot of other people where we didn't fully pay attention to what was happening in our local communities, the ramification and impact that these types of elections have at the home front here.
running against Spencer on the Republican ticket is longtime incumbent John Staley.
I'm John Staley, your Lonoke County Sheriff.
He's also the sheriff who oversaw Spencer's arrest.
I don't think Aaron Spencer's a bad person. I think that he was trying to protect his child, and there's a lot more to this case that I can't even release, that we've found, that we've worked on.
How is this case just sort of, and the fact that he is running for sheriff, impacted this community, in your opinion?
A lot of people are just saying, I would do what he did. I don't blame him. And although I can understand why people feel that way, you've got to separate your feelings when you're a law enforcement officer.
To think you can just take the law into your own hands like that and then still think you can run for sheriff, it's just weird.
What do you say to those people who are like, oh, he's just doing this to help his criminal trial?
No, it definitely hasn't made anything easier. I did what any good father would do to save and protect their child.
He doesn't have any law enforcement background. That doesn't bother you?
Not one bit. No, he does not.
When I was 5 or 6 years old, it was the first time I was molested. And that's why I want Aaron Spencer to stop things like that from happening.
There were women there who were victims themselves of sexual assault.
We've been hearing
you're the
that,
reason.
Yeah, all year, all year. They have been reaching out to us.
Are you prepared for all scenarios in your...
Wow, and that's a big push, because people can feel seen and heard now, right? Instead of like maybe feeling brushed away. To see somebody stand up and fight for it. And I think a lot of you agree at the comments, yeah, a lot of dads would have done the same thing. A lot of mamas would have done the same thing.
Future.
I would be lying to say I wasn't stressed or anything like that. And I think if you're going into office and you're not scared about it, or you're dealing with a trial and you're not a little scared about it, I think that's definitely the wrong behavior and attitude and thought process to have.
So after he shot the man, then he decides to run for sheriff and he wins the Republican seat. Of course, if he's convicted, he cannot run. The man he shot was a 67-year-old man who had been assaulting his daughter. And from what I can gather, what I read in the court documents, that the daughter met the man online. Not like out at the ball field or down at the corner store. They met online. He was probably posing as a much younger person, but I don't know, but somehow she met up with him probably many, many times, apparently, with all these charges he occurred. But, then he was out on bond, no contact order, and he somehow contacts their daughter. I don't know how that happened. Did she have access to a phone and he got her, just called her? I mean, I don't know how that would have happened, but he did. And they wake up and she's gone. It's wild. We're going to get into the court document. Now tomorrow, like I said, Defense Diaries is doing, let me pull this up and show you guys their X post. For those who want to go over and check that out. I know I'll go over there and check out some of it. Okay, I was checking a message real quick while I was over here. Okay, because I know they got a pretty wild lineup, and I think they finally got it finalized. Okay, and they did with the times that people are going to come on. This is a more revised list, it looks like. Okay. They're going to have Brandy Churchwell, Tony Bruschi, Is that Michael Bryant, Melanie Little, Mel Barrett, Rebecca Lovey, The Broken Baker, David Yannetti, Mark Betterow, Sean Martin, Nick Starro, Kat Not Williams. I think there's another one there, but I cannot read it. It's like tiny. Heather Spencer, True Crime Mama. Oh, Cheryl Mack. We had been. Andrew Baldwin's going to be there as well. Ian Runkle, Kristen K, Emily C. Is that Emily C? And then Jimmy. I don't know. Guys, my it's like tiny. I can't read it on the Twitters. But that's going to be the lineup, and they got the different times, say 10 a.m., 11. I guess they're all going to come on for about an hour, and I don't know if they're all going to come and talk about the case, different presentations. We'll see how that plays out. And like I said, it's going to be a big fundraiser for the family. I don't know how much goes to the family, how much goes to the defense fund. You're going to figure all that out with the Defense Diaries. They're the ones holding it. The mods have dropped the links there into the chat for you guys. A lot of you are already familiar. Focus, Simi. Simi, if you don't focus and I glance down, I'm going to run with you. You're going to lead me astray. You haven't heard of most of them? I heard of most of them. Only a couple I didn't recognize there. No, bonds should not be allowed, Happy. It really, really shouldn't. Not under these circumstances. When are the American laws going to catch up to society? That we're sick of it. We're not taking it no more. It hasn't gotten better out there. It's only gotten worse. The predators now have many more avenues to use to get to the children. So when is society going to stand up and demand enough's enough? They want us to be all wait and let the justice system handle it with a $5,000 bond and a couple years of probation. Everything's good, America. They'll get therapy, don't worry. This is one crime we don't want to play around with, and we're sick of, and we don't care what happens to these pedophiles. I don't. I think everybody, deserves a fair trial and a shot at justice, but these pedophiles who target our children and go back for more? Are you fucking serious? Okay. See, I'm gonna get all cussy. Cussy. Y'all, my baby graduates next Friday night. He'll be walking across the stage. He called me earlier. He's like, I'll got my cap and gown now. I'm like, finally. He finally got it. So we're all set to do that next weekend. And I'm so proud of him. My last baby. Let me get the documents pulled up here. We're going to read the motion to dismiss first. And depending on what information is in that document, there are two others I would like to go over to get a little more out of if we don't get enough out of this one, as far as details about the case go, because I want to kind of give us a good enough backstory here. And like I said, I had just dug into this case like the day before yesterday was the first time, I think. Okay. Oh, you know what? I thought I saved that PDF already separately, because it's going to be easier to pull it up that way if I did. Okay, accept. So this case has been going on for quite a while, guys. Here we go. Maximize here. Okay. Brief in support of defendants. Motion to dismiss for due process violation or alternatively for spoliation instruction. What world? Okay. It's a 21-page doc, guys. So let me make this where we can all see. This one. Okay, here we go. And if y'all make sure if y'all can see it, all the good things, let me know. Okay. So yeah, Rachel had pointed that out earlier in the chat. Thanks, Rach, for reminding me. So the original judge on the case was the one who let the man out on bail. And now the Supreme Court did step in twice, I think, in this case so far. And so they have a new special appointed judge overseeing the case. The first judge is gone. So new judge. Does he have public defenders or private attorneys? Hell, I don't even know that part, right? Like, I didn't even look at that. Half the time I don't think about that part. Do they have a hired attorney or not? I just want attorneys to be good no matter how much they make. Because I understand that everybody can afford, all these high-powered attorneys we see all over the place. We're all told to call when something happens, knowing damn well none of us can afford them. I want the public defenders to be just as good, to have that much fire, right? Because you got to start somewhere. I hate to think I live in a society where I'm only going to do justice if I have an attorney I had to pay millions of dollars for, because I think that's getting out of hand too. I think they kind of want it that way. It makes them a little wealthier. We make it simpler and more affordable. Hell, I won't get as much money. Y'all don't think we're stupid, okay? Doctor, lawyer, Indian thief. Shit, I don't know. Why is my screen jumping around like something is wrong with it? All right. So this was, I think it was said it was dropped today, but it was actually dated for yesterday in the case file. Okay, now my screen is not having a fit anymore. I don't know if y'all, it was just jumping around for no reason. I'm like, what in the world is happening? Because I have to there we go, so I can see the whole page. All right. Like I said, there were a couple other documents we will look at depending what this one tells us as far as details. Okay. Sorry, I was just checking chat again, making sure I didn't miss anything. Here in Hyper Kimberly, you're in Kentucky? Oh, okay. Ohio Navy. Oh. Hey, you're not out there near Letcher County, are you, Kimberly? You believe they're private attorneys, Rachel? Maybe so. They're doing some fundraising, right? I don't know who their attorneys are. We'll see when we read the document. Hold on. What the hell is going on my screen? Y'all can't see it, right? I guess it's only I can see it. It's just twitching like nobody's business. Like, calm down. All right. So this is the brief in support of defendant's motion to dismiss for due process violation. The defendant, Aaron Spencer, by and through his attorney, Aaron Casanilli and Michael Kell, they are from, right here, Rach, Kaiser and Lassiter and Casanelli. submits this brief in support of defendant's motion for dismiss. For a due process violation or alternatively for spoliation instruction. Interesting. This case arose after the decedent, Michael Fosler, despite related charges and a no-contact order, transported Spencer's minor daughter to engage in continued criminal sex acts against her. The same prosecutor's office trying Spencer for murder charged Fosler with various crimes in July of 2024, exposing him to life sentences, yet he was released on a meager $50,000 bond. Or why would it say $5,000? Oh, because just 50, you pay $5. $50,000 bond with a no contact order. Undeterred, Fosler continued to SA the minor victim. Man. On October 8th, 2024, he picked her up from her house in the middle of the night to do so. While searching for her, Spencer found her in Fosler's truck, and Fosler fled with her. Spencer disabled the truck, and after a threatening confrontation, Spencer shot Fosler. Affidavit for arrest warrant was signed by Detective Robbie McCain. The state has charged Spencer with second-degree murder, and Spencer has raised various justification defenses. All right, y'all can see the screen well and everything. I had to adjust it again. Sorry, it's crazy. The state has charged Spencer with second-degree murder, and Spencer has raised various justification defenses. It says C-11-27-24, felony information. Okay. Let me look at my, what's this one? 11-27-24. I have a list of some of the documents that I was looking through. Okay. I was just reading the footnote real quick, guys. This document should be filed on a public docket because sometimes in footnotes tell you things you wouldn't know unless you didn't read it, right? This document should be filed on a public docket but does not appear to have been so filed. Spencer incorporates herein as if stated word for word, all exhibits admitted at the December 18th, 2025 hearing, all exhibits attached to this April 2026 motion to reconsider. Okay. This motion concerns the destruction or loss of the single most important piece of objective, contemporaneous, and non-testimonial and direct evidence in this prosecution, the dash camera recovered from inside the decedent's truck. Defense attorney. Let's say, yes, you got a good battle right there. That's not cool for them to lose that, y'all. I don't care. We can't be doing that, right? What if the tables were turned and Spencer shot a guy for no reason and, all these things? We'd be like, we demand to see that camera. How do you lose a critical piece of evidence? No comparable evidence exists to replace the lost audio and visual recordings, which uniquely bore the disputed issues of justification, aggression, escalation, and reasonable fear. Unlike witness recollections shaped by stress, hindsight, or self-interest, the missing footage would have provided the only neutral and contemporaneous account of the events immediately preceding the shooting. Because the evidence was uniquely capable of objectively resolving in Spencer's favor the core disputes in this homicide prosecution, a meaningful remedy for this conduct is necessary. Even under the narrowest application of Trombetta and Youngblood, they're always bringing Youngblood in, man. I got to dive into that case one day and find out why. They must have set all kinds of precedents. The law enforcement conduct in this case compels the conclusion that dismissal, or at minimum, evidentiary sanctions is warranted. Amen. At the least, you need some evidentiary sanctions there, because you can't allow cops to get away with losing or misplacing evidence without accountability. Because guess what's going to happen tomorrow? They're going to lose evidence again in the next case and think, well, it's okay. We're cops. We're human cops. We're not like Cyberdyne Systems. I got to get out of Universal Studios and Cyberdyne Systems. If you know, you know. I always think of them when I think about stuff like this. Fuck, we're not robots yet. Them bastards will turn on you. Haven't you seen the movie? Super. Right this way. That was annoying. If you ever go to Universal Studios, I don't know if they still have that ride or not. I doubt it. I haven't been in years. The lady would go, "It's super," and she would just say super, and it was so annoying the way she said it. Okay, back. I got sidetracked. I pulled. Look, Simi, you're rubbing off on me. Stop it. This case is important. Yeah, I believe sanctions are in order, at the least. This case presents far more than negligence, inadventure, or bureaucratic error. It presents a pattern of intentional and inexplicable law enforcement conduct surrounding the discovery, handling, and review, concealment, and ultimate loss of critical evidence, and the cumulative force of which compels finding bad faith. Just as circumstantial evidence generally is not evaluated as isolated link in a chain, but as strands woven into a cable whose persuasive strength devices from the interrelationship of the facts themselves and whose combined force exceeds the impact of individual acts. The actions of law enforcement must be viewed in totality. That's one of them words that cop over there likes at the interview room. The totality of it all. Totality was pretty bad from what I saw. The exculpatory value of the dash cam was immediately apparent. The state violates a defendant's due process rights when it destroys or loses evidence whose exculpatory value is apparent before destruction. The defendant is unable to obtain comparable evidence by any of the. I wonder, has the state admitted that anybody in the prosecutor's office has seen this tape or this video? Who was the last person to hold that little SD card in their hand? We got a whole conspiracy theory running in Idaho 4 about a barcode on a knife sheath bag in evidence. We missing the whole evidence here. So who was the last person to handle that? Because I think they should get into trouble, because I would get in trouble if I lost something super important at my job. I'm just saying. Wouldn't y'all? If y'all lost something super important at your job, would you get a talking to by your boss? At the least. Some retraining, maybe. They're like, "How did you lose that?" You're like, "I don't know. The computer just walked away. I don't know." All right. Exculpatory value of the dash cam. So the state violates a defendant's due process rights when it destroys, loses evidence whose exculpatory value is apparent before the destruction. Again, that makes me wonder who saw it before. Given the difficulty, and I wonder if the defense discovered that it existed by seeing it in a police report. Given the difficulty of demonstrating the precise content of evidence that no longer exists or what the destroyed evidence is, the focus is not on proving what is missing, but on the apparent value of it prior to destruction and how it would have been valuable to the defense. It would have been valuable to either side, right? Mm. That's a critical piece of evidence, y'all. That's messed up. I'm just confused as how they lost it. Explaining that the burden is to prove it was material and had an exculpatory value apparent before its destruction by, for instance, showing the evidence would have shown the defendant did not do as alleged. Despite that substance of recording was unclear, state's conduct in concealing its existence demonstrated its significance to the defense. Did they conceal it even existed too? Officers had information that made the exculpatory value of the dash camera apparent. They didn't lose all the King Road interviews. We talking about Moscow lost all the fucking interviews. Moscow, Idaho? Have you seen how many interviews are out there? Is that what you're talking about, Sandy? Only thing they've lost is Brian Koberger's, apparently. Delphi lost interviews with alternate suspects and said it was okay. They're like, it's okay. They're innocent because we interviewed them, and yeah. But we don't have those interviews anymore. They got recorded over and lost. We don't know what. They could be in that box at Kathy's house. Now I'm going to be an asshole. Okay, back to this case. So the officers had. Hold on, it got a little noisy outside of my room. Officers had information that made the exculpatory value of the dash cam apparent. Okay, McCain or other officers were aware of the unique circumstances that led to the shooting on October 8, 2024. Both before they arrived on scene and certainly when McCain manipulated the evidence resulting in its loss later that same day. October 8, both before they arrived on scene and certainly when McCain manipulated the evidence resulting in its loss later that same day. By the time they arrived at the scene, Lonoke County Sheriff's Office officers knew they were responding to the shooting of a man with pending criminal sexual abuse related charges by the father of a minor victim after he discovered the child in her abuser's truck in the middle of the night. So they're like, oh, the cops were aware of the situation as they were approaching. Heather, Malachi, and Aaron Spencer had each called 911 that morning and advised of this scenario. So as a call goes out, they're already speculating that's where their daughter is, right? 911 calls TR. Okay. In the first call, Heather Spencer told dispatch about Fosler's pending case, that he was messaging and brainwashed her, and Heather was afraid he was going to kill her. Malachi Spencer, the Spencer son, told dispatch his sister was missing, and he had no doubt Fosler was involved because he previously kidnapped and her. Finally, Spencer's 911 call following the shooting was clear. A man tried to kidnap my daughter. I just had to kill him. But that don't mean he was like, I just murdered him. I had to kill him. Could have been a lot of things in the moment. Even if I had not heard the 911 calls himself, discussion at the scene made clear that McCain and other officers knew the circumstances before the camera was removed from Foster's vehicle. This old bastard, this dirty old man had cameras all up in his car, probably all up in his house. Sick individuals. Probably recorded ladies walking across the street and stuff and sat there in your car and drooled, you fucking pervs. What the hell is wrong with people? Oh, In case y'all are new to my channel, I tend to cuss sometimes a lot, sometimes not at all. I don't never know when it's going to come. I don't mean to offend, but we cuss and discuss. We're kind of them old ladies, and we live in that we don't care phase. That's right, Happy. He certainly did, didn't he, girl? Preach it. He fucked around and found out. Of course, none of us agree with walking up in cold blood and just taking someone's life, but damn it, circumstances, come on. Look, Kentucky, Mickey Steins, he got disturbed all of a sudden and shit just happened. All right, that's the defense. What do they call it? Extreme, just emotional disturbance all of a sudden. That girl that unalived her little baby, whatever her name was, she's doing the same defense as Mickey Steins. So it's a common thing for Kentucky, kind of like stand your ground in Florida. It's common. Come in my door, I'm standing my ground. Come at my daughter, gonna stand my ground. Who else is gonna protect that baby? The cop? The judge who let him go on bond? Hyper Kimberly, do you? But you know what? My grandpa was an old sailor, and I am my grandpa's girl. I'm just like him. I cuss just like him too. I can't help it. I wonder if I cussed when I was like a little kid and got in trouble and didn't know it. You know how the little toddlers are when they're running around. They're saying those F-bombs come out of their little mouths. You're like, oh, where'd you hear that? And you're like, oh shit, from me. We had a neighbor once, and this girl is grown now, and she is amazing human being, a nurse, fantastic. But when she was a little girl, I promise you, 4, 5, 6 years old, this was not a little kid you wanted to go up against, because she would take you down in a cuss out war. And her grandpa taught her everything she knew. Her mama couldn't stop her. I used to laugh so hard at that little girl. I was like, holy cow, they done got her going. You could hear her across the yard. She'd be cussing them all out. To this, but now you would never know that about her. It's so funny. All right. Body cam at 1:37. McCullough, body cam at 2:04. Dispatch call detail. Those are the different exhibits. It was also clear that evidence affirming the Spencer's account would be clearly exculpatory, or affirming Spencer's account would be exculpatory. Neither can the state suggest it was unclear whether exculpatory footage was captured. Body camera footage shows deputies and detectives, including McCraney and McCain, looking at the inside and outside of Fosler's truck, with the dash camera and its illuminated screen visible from the body cams, right? McCullough body cam at 2:31 a.m. That's exhibit. And then his was at 2:02. Okay. Inexplicably, neither of them preserved or secured it for hours. It is apparent the camera was recording when Spencer chased and later justifiably shot Fosler and captured relevant data from those events. The dash camera was mounted on Fosler's truck windshield, with its main camera facing out the windshield and the second camera facing inside the truck towards the rear. You can see the whole the cab of the truck with her in it. When an SD card is inserted, as it was here, the cameras automatically turn on and record when plugged in. Thus, when the screen is on, the dash camera is recording and displays the camera views on the screen. Given its placement, the dash camera captured visual and or audio footage of the driver and passenger and visual footage out of the rear and front windshields. So it would have seen, right, Spencer following them, coming up on them, or unless he passed them coming head on and maybe busted a U-ey and gave chase, it would have recorded all of that. The altercation, man, that's messed up. If I was a defense attorney today, like y'all know how I roll around here, I could be your prosecutor today or your defense attorney. Right now, we're defense attorney in it because this is bullshit. Detective McCain confirmed the dash camera was powered on when he collected it, and the body cam footage from the scene shows an illuminated screen. He could reasonably infer that it had been running earlier, knew it likely had sound, and knew it had multiple cameras. Knowing all of this, along with knowledge of the events immediately preceding officers' arrival at the scene, it was apparent the dash camera captured exculpatory footage. And McCain and other officers would have immediately realized this significance. Indeed, he acted on this significance. He treated it differently than he did other evidence, delaying collecting it, then keeping it in his office and handling it personally rather than following evidentiary protocol to ensure its safety. And wow, where's Brent Turvey? Get his ass over here. Bat signal, Brent Turvey, we got your dude. You need it over here. Get out of Idaho. What you doing? Fuck. Sheath was planted my ass. Get over here, man. If you really want to make a really good name for yourself, just go find those cases where you can make a difference. I would be seeking them out if I was some sort of expert. But like, gimme, let me have it. Gimme. Handling it personally rather than following evidentiary protocol to ensure its safety, and ultimately losing it without any explanation for its loss. He lost it in his office. Good God Almighty. I got to refill the coffee cup. Southern Baptist style, Kimberly. We look, our tribe, we always find each other, don't we? We'll bless their damn hearts all day long and twice on Sunday. And then invite them to supper. Because Mama said you got to feed them. In the South, it's disrespectful if we offer you food and you turn that shit down. Oh, Lordy. Oh, my old grannies used to make us eat everywhere we went. You better get you some of that. You was offered it. Damn it, man. Oh, what if I don't like it? You better learn. Okay. Notorious and glorious. I like that. That's nice, Kimberly. Simi, I don't need no help derailing myself. You see how I roll. We're good. That's why you hang here, Simi, because you have found your people. Hawkeyes, thank you so much. Well, you better Hawkeyes, the other day when I went shopping, I'm telling you, I bought the big ass coffee and I thought of you. I'm like, Hawkeyes is buying this coffee. And she always says, get that coffee. And she keeps me in the coffee. And thank you, honey. I appreciate you. So yes, I did get a big ass coffee. That's funny because I have a coffee cup that my sister made me. And I always called that my big ass coffee because it's a big coffee cup versus my small one. That was my big ass coffee. I live nearly 15 miles from town. I got to have a big ass coffee for that ride, right? Ain't no store between here and there. So fix my big cup and hit the road. Okay. He's done lost the evidence in his office without an explanation. So somebody come in and clean up the office and misplaced it, stole it, took it? What, did you take it home and throw it away by accident? What I don't know. That calls for an investigation, right? Other circumstances also indicate that apparent exculpatory value efforts to disclaim responsibility and conceal its existence from Spencer. Deputy McCraney, who arrived first on scene, immediately recognized the dash cam's significance. He was inspecting Fosler's truck and looking for evidence needed to be secured. McCain arrived at the scene about 2:23 a.m. McCraney informed the detective, McCain, about the dash camera before 4 a.m. McCain, on the other hand, testified McCraney did not inform him about the dash camera until 5:35. Oh, they've already had a couple of hearings, guys. Keep this in mind, right? I'm just unpacking this case. Y'all are watching me do it in real time with y'all. So I know they've already had a couple of hearings or whatever. So, wow. Whoa, that's big. Okay, McCain arrived at the scene about 2:23. McCraney informed the detective, McCain, about the dash camera before 4 a.m. But McCain, on the other hand, testified that wasn't true. He had heard it at 5:35. Now they're going to call him in a discrepancy lie as well. Should we go back and look at all the cases he's been involved with for inaccuracies? Can we call it? We'll call it that. We'll be safe and call it inaccuracies. McCain ensured there would be no confirmation of his handling of the dash camera. McCain ensured there would be no confirmation of his handling of the dash cam. Within minutes of his arrival on scene, McCain inspected the inside of Foster's truck through the windows with a flashlight where the illuminated dash camera is apparent. A few minutes later, he began photographing Foster's truck and instructed deputies to turn off their body cameras. What? Another violation of LCSO policy. Why? As an American citizen, I don't want that to be turned off ever. Not anymore, not in this country. Damn it. Despite the obvious illuminated dash cam and contrary to McCraney's testimony, McCain testified he was unaware of the dash camera during the entire time he investigated the scene, only learning of it as tow trucks arrived hours later. Oh, his testimony about being unaware of it, despite looking directly at it several times, is so incredible it cannot be believed. Damn. Further, his direction to stop body cam recordings ensured there is no footage of anyone handling of the dash cam or explanation for his having missed the obviously critical evidence. Why would that? You're a cop, you show up at a scene that you are aware of, rolling up on it, that you have a suspect accused of essaying this child's in his possession, father on scene. Now you arrive, and one man's on the ground, another man's holding a gun. Why are you doing all this, turning off body cams and mishandling evidence? Why are we doing all that? Did you know the pedophile? His testimony about being unaware of it, despite looking directly at it several times, is incredible. Okay, yeah, I don't believe it either. Further, his direction to stop the body cam recordings ensured there is no footage of anyone handling the dash cam. Despite being told about it and looking at it, he left it until the last possible second before leaving. McCain learned even more about the substantial significance the recording would hold to the defense after his interviews that morning. Before he says he viewed the SD card. I wonder what's in their reports from that day. You know what I mean? They go through their day and all the things. They got to write up their little reports. Where's those reports? What did he say in the reports? Are they very different from what he's testified to and said so far? After leaving the scene, McCain interviewed Spencer, who provided details about everything from Fosler's criminal case to details about the events of that morning leading to including the shooting. You know, at this point, Aaron Spencer's already feeling like, y'all have let me down. I let my daughter down because I was unaware of what was happening. I'm just saying, I don't know what the backstory is on that, but I'm sure they were not aware of what was happening while it was happening. All that's done happened. I feel like I have failed my child. Y'all have failed my child. That man's back out on bond, and now my child's with him. What gives here, right? This is crazy. I'm not saying they failed their child, don't get me wrong, but as a parent, I know me and my thought process. If that happened to one of my girls, I'd question myself. What could I have done different? What should I have done different? I should have known. I should have paid more attention. You know, all those things you're going to do as a parent are going to cross your damn mind. We're human. That's what we do. Especially when it comes to our babies. We will question ourselves and second guess everything we do from the time we draw our last breath. McCain also had information that the minor told a deputy she was hurting from being SA'd that night. It's fucking sick. What kind of hold did that man, predator, groomer, get on this child? That she would leave again that night, right? That night, after all that, he's already been to jail, got on bond. Now she's done left the house with him. Did he literally legit kidnap her from her home? Or lure her out? Jesus Christ. Poor baby. Either way, she is a fucking victim. She was a little girl, 13-year-old girl. Which just makes me want to think of Madeline Soto, right? Hey, I'm going to say Stefan Stern's name a couple times so he gets stuck in the ass with some kind of pin or something. Stefan Stearns. For those of y'all who don't know, that's my voodoo doll. It's like a virtual thing. If I say his name, something bad happens to him at the prison. He hurts himself. Or someone hurts him. We're not sure. Just pain is inflicted on him when I say his name. I put a spell on him. So he's going to take one for these little girls. Won't you, Stefan? Take that too, bitch. Ooh, could y'all imagine what he's actually having to take right now? Think about it. Take it, Stefan. Take it. Three hours from me in the Florida State Pen. I've heard tell of what them boys do to men like you. McCain also knew from the minor's interview that Fosler was looking for a weapon before he exited the truck and had a camera to see the back of his truck to make sure nobody, like my dad, because he was scared of my dad. So he puts these cameras up in the truck and tells this child it's to help me surveil. So, in case your daddy's approaching. This dude was fucking brave, because I'm telling y'all where I'm from, the men in my family, he probably wouldn't have made it to jail the first time around. Somebody would have went on down the road for that one with a smile on their face. 3 hots and a cot ain't so bad after all. It's cush life for people who hate money and all that like me. Hell, can I podcast from prison? So he's got the camera, and he was looking for a weapon before he exited the truck. Who's to say he did not grab a weapon? Remember, Spencer alluded that he came at him with something. It's in the middle of the night. It's dark. Things are heated. You damn right that man had something. There's no way in hell Fosler did not get out of his vehicle unarmed. So what kind of weapon was found at the scene, I wonder, or tool or whatever he was going to use. We got to figure that out. We will. I'm sure it's in here somewhere. If somebody knows in the chat, let me know. And I feel like I'm being rude ignoring my chat because y'all know me. I'm usually like, I love to chit chat with you guys. I want to see what y'all are saying. Oh. Who's got sweet tea made? Okay. So the cameras, okay. He was scared of my dad. She also explained being assaulted that night at his house. So how long had she been out of the house that night before they realized she was gone? Because I want to think it was like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning when they woke up and discovered her gone. I'm not sure what time the 911 call happened. Around 1:30-ish is what I believe. Rach, you might know. So I wonder how long she'd actually been gone before they realized it. Heather Spencer described seeing the chase and believing Fosler was going to kill her daughter. And Malachi Heather described seeing the chase. Was she with her husband, Aaron? Malachi reiterated those things and relayed the miner's description of what Fosler did with her that morning. Obviously, the miner's explanation of the camera's purpose confirmed it was operating that morning and that the second camera faced the rear. McCain understood how cameras function to record the happenings in front of the lens and the sounds in proximity to the camera. And he knew the dash camera had 2 cameras, was on after the shooting, and likely recorded sound. And they give some information there. What? Okay. From his first steps on the scene to the time he manipulated the dash cam in his office, or having failed to follow any evidence policy with regard to it, McCain knew plenty about the facts and circumstances that led to the shooting to know the dash camera would have captured the events. That there's no you're not a beat cop, you are a detective. You absolutely should have known the relevance and importance of that dash cam and the SD card, everything about it, the equipment, and would have preserved all of it right there on scene, right? Evidence, all of it right then. Boys, I'll see you back at the office. Taking this shit right here with me. What fucking cowboy shit is that? You believe the wife was at home on the phone. Okay. That makes sense too, Rach, if she was on the phone, but it said she described seeing it, so that's why I was confused. That was my understanding too, that she was at the house calling 911 as he was taking off to go find them. But, McCain knew plenty about the facts and the circumstances that led to the shooting to know the dash camera would have captured the events earlier that morning as Fosler intended. That's the guy who is deceased now. There, because he was wanting to make sure that the dad didn't find him. And this guy just took the child and stayed right there and just antagonized this man. There is no legitimate debate about the exculpatory value of the dash cam. The 2-lens dash camera was positioned with the front camera facing out of the front. I just cannot get over the gall of that old man being out on bond and then going and getting her in the middle of the night and then taking off with her. And oh my God, what the hell? He needed to be stopped, because if a court didn't stop him, he would have continued He'd have been that weirdo at the park watching your grandbabies play. The two-lens dash camera was positioned with the front camera facing out the front windshield and the other camera plugged in and positioned facing the inside of the truck and towards its rear. I mean, he just flat out didn't care. Logically, the camera's video and or audio would have provided evidence of Fosler's custody and route taken with Spencer's daughter. Fosler's directives to his victim in the truck. There you go. His directives to his victim in the truck. Spencer's attempt to get Fosler to stop his truck. Fosler's active flight with Spencer's daughter. Spencer's successful effort to maneuver Fosler's truck into a driveway. Fosler's aggressive exit. And Spencer's reasonable fear for his daughter and himself, among many other key moments that establishes Spencer's defense. Oh boy, y'all know if this goes to trial, we are covering our second trial ever. We've only covered, well, no, I did 2, didn't I? Yeah, I did 2. I forgot about Lori. She's so forgettable in my eyes. See, Lori Vallow means nothing to me. Karen Reed, Lord God help us all. I got PTSD. I don't know if I can cover another trial, but I'll do it. This one's important. The footage would show Spencer's efforts to save his child, and as he described to McCain, and Fosler's efforts to escape with the child and to conceal her in the truck. The footage would evidence Fosler's efforts to find a weapon or make it appear he had a weapon before threatening Spencer. It would also show Fosler's transporting the minor to his house prior to the shooting to assault her, and at least the sound of Fosler yelling at Spencer when he exited the vehicle. It certainly would have confirmed that Fosler was threatening. Man, that camera would have told so much. From the time he placed that child in his truck at her home to everything he did with her and everywhere they went, said, wow. And we got FedEx cameras and audio recording the death of a little girl because of a fucked up individual. And then we got cops over here losing an SD card out of a pedophile's pickup truck. Spencer, when he exited the vehicle, or yeah, because Fosler was yelling at him, okay, it certainly would have confirmed that Fosler was threatening. Y'all, hang on one second. I need to see if my family left. That sounds weird. I gotta see if the boys left. Hold on a second. It got really quiet, and I heard the door shut earlier. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, I'm back. No, it just got real quiet. They're here. It's too quiet. Y'all as moms know when it gets quiet, you get nervous. You're like, what are they doing? But this is weird because they're not kids. Well, it's my grown son and his 10-year-old. I'm like, they got super quiet. So I was like, what do? They leave? All right. I get sus when things go quiet around here. There cannot be any serious debate that the footage would have supported Spencer's defense if it had been properly preserved, secured, and examined instead of kept off paper until it disappeared. Wow. Here the footage would completely remove any meritorious contention that Spencer committed an unlawful killing of another. The argument that it might have contained some inculpatory evidence and thus could not have been apparently exculpatory is contrary to common sense and cannot overcome the obvious and overwhelming exculpatory value. Hey, at this point, we wouldn't know if it was really either one, would we? So the prosecution can sit down for a moment. Yeah, because it could very well show exculpatory. Or we wouldn't know because y'all lost it. So important that you lost it. It is contrary to common sense. Common sense doesn't left the building. The footage definitely, to a certainty, contained exculpatory evidence. Whether or not there was also portions that might be considered inculpatory to the state under the convoluted theory it seems to be embracing. I like a good filing with good writing. I love it. Any reasonable investigator would have secured it immediately to ensure preservation of its contents. Yeah, because you just roll up on scene regardless of what you know before you get there. Once you're there, everything's happened. Preserve all evidence. You have no dog in the hunt, right? You're just, your job is to collect the evidence, preserve everything. Let the lawyers handle it, turn everything over to the prosecutors. Now this cop's out here going, "Oh, just give me that. I'll just take that with me. I'll take it with me." Any reasonable investigator would have secured it immediately to ensure preservation. Y'all, maybe he was one of those detectives like Nanos had. He didn't have much experience. Are we going to let him have that for him? No, let's don't. We tricked you. Any investigator would immediately realize under the circumstances known at the time that audio and video recording both inside and outside of the vehicle captured evidence of Fosler's sexual assault of the minor on that evening. I hope I don't say these words too many times that YouTube flags me for some crazy shit later. Evidence of his picking her up, maintaining physical control, violating a no contact order, or any investigator would immediately realize that it would certainly show Spencer's efforts to stop Fosler fleeing with a minor, and directing her physical actions. Well, actually, the investigator, once they got there, wouldn't have known what it would have shown, right? It could have very well shown a very aggressive father immediately jump out and balls to the walls, boom. I still couldn't have blamed the guy. Or it could show the perpetrator jumping out with a weapon coming at the man. We wouldn't know. Either way, it's important. And then, as a society, we would make up our minds. Well, we won't be on the jury, but we can pretend we are. The court of public opinion. Fosler fleeing with the minor and directing her physical actions in the truck, attempting to conceal her. So he must have been yelling at her to lie down, get down, things like that. I bet she was told when the cops interviewed the daughter, she was probably telling them that's what he was yelling at her as her dad was chasing, right? Get down, all that stupid shit. Throw this blanket over you, whatever. And Fosler's conduct in confronting Spencer. The footnote says, it remains unclear how this evidence could possibly be of inculpatory value beyond sheer speculation. The state's assertion that the child went with the 67-year-old abuser without force is not in dispute. Okay, so he didn't roll up and kidnap her. She went. What's that got to do with anything, right? There's no evidence indicating Fosler. Did they know how many kids are lured from their home by the predator? That's the end game for so many of them. They hone that craft. We give them all the tools they need to get better at their craft every day. There's no evidence indicating Fosler acted in any manner other than aggressive when he exited the vehicle, and there is no dispute about the number of shots Spencer fired. I have no idea how many shots he fired, y'all. Probably enough till he went down. Most of us would. I, one may be enough, but you never know in that moment, that heated moment, that excited utterance. That Kentucky law, emotional distress in the moment. I lost my shit. That's what happened. I lost my shit defense. Now, can I get a good attorney? How do you fight that? While the child was held in the truck. Okay. Spencer fired the shots. Okay. None of this is anything but exculpatory. All evidence that without any doubt whatsoever supports Spencer's reasonable belief that Fosler presented the requisite danger justifying Spencer's actions throughout the episode. The absurd suggestion that the footage would provide either no exculpatory value or inculpatory evidence cannot overcome the common sense. Is that what the state's claiming? Is like, it wouldn't have provided exculpatory or inculpatory, therefore it's no big deal. Do they think it's not a big deal, I wonder? Like, oops. We got the kid's statement, so that's enough about what went on in the truck? No. Oh, man. I don't know how the state can justify the loss of such evidence, right? No matter how they want to downplay its evidentiary value. McCain's self-serving statements when it was discovered that he had lost the evidence also cannot overcome logic and common sense. Oh, self-serving statements? No, he did not. What did he do? Only when the defense submitted a motion asserting a due process violation in November of 2025. Was that the... I think that's one of the ones I have highlighted. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Did McCain for the very first time create a legal document purporting to reflect what he did and what he saw on the dash cam's SD card back in October of 2024? What? Only when the defense submitted a motion asserting to a due process violation in November 2025 did McCain for the first time create a legal document. A year later? Y'all know the night he got arrested and put in the cop car, there was a meth pipe in the floorboard, and he saw it and told them, and they tried to say it was his. And there's documents in the documents. There are documents in all the court filings that I was reading through, and I have wrote those down so we could review them while we unpack the case. Motions to exclude the glass smoking pipe. They ended up determining it was not his, right? His DNA was not on that pipe. He's like, whoa, y'all put me in the cop car. I want you to know there's a pipe right there. And they were going to try to say it was his meth pipe. Pammy, thank you. Appreciate this place and this chat. Pammy, we appreciate you, and this is a great chat, isn't it? So thank you for being a part of this community. You've been here for a long time and supporting us, and we appreciate it. And thank you for that, ma'am. I can't say enough about you guys. Y'all are why I'm doing this. I like to just come out here and chill with my friends and talk true crime. All right? Yeah, Pammy does rock. Real happy. You rock too. All of y'all do. Some of you have been around here for quite a while. And I appreciate y'all. And everybody new that have found us, we hope you stick around, that you like us. And, well, like me enough to stick around. The community's awesome. Community is fantastic. They're good people. And you'll see them around at other places. They get around. Okay, so he makes his legal document a year later. State's brief in response to defendant's motion for adverse inference jury instructions and hearing on spoliation, destructive of evidence. Still, the state relies on McCain's self-serving testimony that while manipulating the undocumented evidence resulting in its total loss, he viewed the footage showing only events after the incident. This is irrelevant to the analysis. What did this guy do to this? What did he do? Manipulating the undocumented evidence resulting in its total loss. Did he just lose it or destroy it? Damn, dude. Oh, First, Spencer is not required to show the actual contents of the dash cam. That would be impossible now. Instead, he must show that the evidence had apparent exculpatory value before its loss or destruction. At the scene, it was apparent in the first half hour on scene that the dash cam was operating and the cameras directed to capture the events leading to and including the shooting. Now, with all this in mind, there were 3 people and 1 is dead. Spencer and his daughter are alive. There's her word, her account, his word, his account. I wonder who that jury's going to believe. They're going to look at that father and they're all going to, that judge said we can't rule on emotion. Leave it at home. Leave them emotions out. Simi. Y'all have to ignore my feral friend in the comment section. We love our Simi. Simi's sharp. Her little feral ass running around out there wreaking havoc. All right. I'm my soul sister, by the way. One of many. Oh, man. This is crazy. All this we're 8 pages so far on this one thing, but of course I keep talking a lot, but that's a big piece of evidence, man. And now we got some condescending cop or something who's destructing and losing shit. All right, at the scene, it was apparent in the first half hour on scene that the dash cam was operating and the cameras directed to capture the events leading to and including the shooting. McCain's post hoc attempt to remedy his misconduct after it was discovered many months later is irrelevant to whether it was objectively apparent that the dash cam contained information that would negate Spencer's criminal culpability. Before McCain undertook to secret it before manipulating it, resulting in its loss. What? Before McCain undertook to secret it before manipulating it, resulting in its loss. So he kept it secret because he didn't document it correctly into evidence. Then he manipulated it. And then he lost it. Or the manipulation resulted in its loss. What did he do to it? Did he put it in the wrong player? Y'all know what I'm saying? He didn't have the right equipment and he pushed play. He's like, oh my God, just make it stop, make it stop. Too late. What did he do to it? Not only is it entirely unbelievable, but this very action by McCain of purportedly removing the data card and placing it in another device and then into his own computer. Wait. Resulted in no one ever seeing the data card again. Motion to dismiss granted. Where's my gavel? We were joking today I needed a gavel. I think I do. I just granted this guy's motion to dismiss his case. I'm the judge. What the fuck? You did what? Hold on. Let's make sure we're not drunk and we read that correctly. I might be high, but I ain't drunk. Not only is it entirely unbelievable, but this very action by McCain of purportedly removing the data card and placing it in another device, so another device, and then into his own computer, resulted in no one ever seeing the data card again. Man, that's not good, y'all. What the hell? When is that allowed that you get to take evidence home and place it in your own computer? That should be like a forensic download thing. That's wow. McCain's actions. What was he going to do? Take it and privately view it and then decide what to do? What he should do? What he wanted to do? McCain's actions in contravention of numerous policies and common sense destroyed the evidence and cannot also suffice to confirm its lack of exculpatory value. He knew of the exculpatory significance of the dash camera when he, without a witness, notation, photograph, process, or attempt at preservation, manipulated the data instead of preserving it the way all other digital evidence pertaining to events of the night was preserved. All other digital evidence was preserved correctly, but this one, without a witness, notation, photograph, process, or attempt at preservation. Fundamental issues right there. Foundation. Damn it. This dash camera was everything because it captured everything that was happening. Through technology at the Attorney General's office, okay, so they should have preserving it the way all other digital evidence pertaining to the events of the night was preserved through the technology at the Attorney General's office. Right, because this is an SA case, right? So all the other digital evidence they've recovered from this case goes to the Attorney General's office, but this piece, the most critical piece of evidence, you got a rogue cop out here playing cowboy going, oh, I'm just take this little SD card with me, boys. Don't worry about this. And then he destroys it instead of sending it on. That's so crazy. Did he get in trouble? Did he get fired? Did he get suspended without pay? Furthermore, McCain's explanation about what he viewed on the SD card is inconsistent with the operation of the dash camera. What? So is he like the only person to view this footage before he destroyed it? And it's inconsistent with the operation of the camera. The camera also did not default to loop function as McCain suggested. The SD card locks in and cannot be easily dislodged. McCain did not document his review of the footage in any way, anywhere until December of 2025, 14 months later, only in his affidavit. Damn. All that was unnecessary, man. To be sure, McCain's testimony about the contents of the SD card does not comport with the function of the dash cam. In fact, it is impossible given the dash cam software. McCain would not know the contents of the SD card even if he had looked because he did not watch all of the footage. Does not know what was in all folders. And he did not hear the audio. He testified the videos were formatted in 2 to 5 folders with video files in one folder, while remaining folders had camera information and text documents. And videos were around 15 minutes long, and 4 slightly shorter. Of course, if McCain was truly doing what he would normally do with cameras, in quotations, he would have saved the data he found on the SD card as evidence, and there would have been no need to transmit it to the AG's office. What is this guy doing? The LCSO transmitted the digital evidence collected in the case to the AG's office for examination on October 11, 2024, and received responsive information from the AG's office within a week. I was reading the footnote there. According to Brandon Purchase, who examined the camera, the dash camera does not default to the loop function. Instead, the default setting is for it to stop recording when the SD card memory is full. If the loop function was enabled, it would only make sense that the G sensor function would be as well, so videos could be saved. Okay, so they're going into the video capabilities of this camera. Okay, video could be saved, and storage capacity to be sufficient to store data for review. Purchase explained the dash cam records audio and video from 2 separate cameras simultaneously were plugged in. Okay, so you had like 2 cams going. The main front-facing camera and the rear swivel camera. Yeah, so 2 different. Regardless of the type of SD card, each camera is only capable of producing 2 folders. So what he was saying about the different folders is not comporting to what the capabilities of that card really had, right? It's different than what he's described to them that he saw. Well, no one would know because he destroyed it. One for the main camera and one for the rear, like I can't say the word all of a sudden, swivel. The camera can only record videos in 1, 2, or 3 and 5 minute increments. It is not possible to create 15-minute videos, as McCain claimed. Furthermore, the dash camera is designed to ensure the SD card is secure and uses a spring so that it will noticeably pop straight up when locked. Video of Brandon Purchase testing the dash cam. They have that. Okay, that's Exhibit 15. The state did not contest Purchase's testimony. McCain's description of the videos he says he saw is simply not logical. McCain's description of the videos he says he saw is simply not logical, possible, or true, and neither is an explanation that the SD card was in the dash camera yet went missing. His conveniently timed but impossible explanations revealed only after Spencer sought relief from the misconduct have no credibility. Dismissing the government's conveniently timed explanations revealed only after the defendant sought suppression of the evidence and finding it was obvious the evidence had exculpatory value because of the information officers knew. McCain's testimony cannot save the state from the obvious exculpatory nature of the dash camera recordings. Yeah, you can't. McCain's statements mean nothing. I don't know what that man saw. I don't want to believe him. I don't care what he said. I don't even want him on the stand. I just want to know what you're thinking. Nanos would have put him on a desk job real quick, like for that one, wouldn't he? He'd been like, you're seated now. Go take a desk. Or he might have said, "Atta boy." I don't know. The state has not argued that Spencer can obtain comparable evidence, and it cannot reasonably be argued that the evidence comparable to the video and audio capturing the incident could exist. All you have is Spencer's account of what happened and his daughter's, and that's it. The other man's, he's no longer here to testify on behalf of himself. There was no other way to demonstrate in real time what Spencer witnessed and experienced. No. Oh, just his testimony about it, right? And that emotion that I'm sure that was not. Man, can you imagine all the emotions you would feel at that moment that you think that's shit you would never have to feel, right? That experience would be just overwhelming. Spencer cannot be compelled to testify, so his own testimony cannot satisfy that this comparable evidence factor. So he can't be compelled to testify. More importantly, the footage is and honestly, in this case, I think a lot of times you hear that they won't testify. The defendants won't testify, and the attorneys are advising they don't testify. And will he take the stand? This case, take the stand. I think it's necessary. This ain't no Casey Anthony type of trial where if she'd have took the stand, her ass would have got convicted. Right? It's different. Take the stand. So the American people can take it with you. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Sometimes I forget I'm on a live stream. Spencer cannot be compelled to testify, so his own testimony cannot satisfy the court, basically. Okay. I want to take a break and glance down here at my chat, see what you guys are doing. You think he will take the stand happy? I would, yeah, I could see it, right? Why not? Oh no, neuropathy in the feet is not good. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Feel better, y'all. Butterfly. I would throw you one if you could catch it. Aw. You need to get you a little packet and just keep on hand, just in case, and try. Because medicinal, right? Get some medicinal. And just try and lie in bed, and just in case. Alternatively, the dash cam was potentially exculpatory, and law enforcement acted in bad faith. Even if the court questions the exculpatory value of the evidence, it was without a doubt potentially useful. And bad faith in its destruction is apparent and justifies dismissal of the case. Arizona versus Youngblood was the case that they cite here. 1988. Bad faith is evident by misconduct, dishonesty, and efforts to conceal the existence of the evidence, its exculpatory value, and its destruction. Bad faith is evidenced when the police themselves, by their conduct, indicate that the evidence could form a basis of exonerating the defendant. Found the Youngblood court. Bad faith can be shown by proof of an official, animus or a conscious effort to suppress exculpatory evidence. Conscious effort to suppress exculpatory evidence. Unintentional or negligent omissions with no record of misconduct or animus do not constitute bad faith. And they cite a case. Explaining bad faith imports a dishonest purpose, moral obliquity, conscious wrongdoing, breach of a known duty through some ulterior motive, or ill will partaking of the nature of the fraud. It embraces actual intent to mislead or deceive another. Efforts to conceal the existence of, this is what we read. Let's see. Let me go down. Let's see. Let me get down here a little bit further. Oh, wait a minute. I messed my thing up. There we go. LCSO officials, and particularly McCain, blatantly violated numerous policies regarding the collection, documentation, or documenting, photographing, reviewing, and analyzing and preserving of the evidence. Potentially justified murder investigation, officers saw and McCain removed a dash camera mounted to the windshield of a truck where many of the significant events occurred while it was still operating. So they're basically running through the gist of it again. Unlike Lewis and Clark's, this was not a mere error in judgment or a misunderstanding of policy. This was a blatant defiance of substantiability. So when they go through these briefs, they cite the other cases, right, and the case laws that would pertain to the same things that their case pertains to. And they want to show the judge, here's other examples of other cases where this has been presented and won, right? And here's an example of it to back up what we're saying in our brief. So they got quite a bit. Misunderstanding of policy, the judgments, basically, and they do this for too a lot of times, like because the prosecution's also going to file their briefs, right? Every time one side files a motion, the other side files a reply, and then you get the brief and reply to their reply, and they're like, how many replies y'all gonna reply to each other before we get it on, right? How long before the judge finally issues an order based on all their back and forth? It takes like 6 documents between both sides to get one thing achieved, it seems like sometimes, when they keep replying to each other. Oh yeah, well, what about this? Oh yeah, what about that? That's what it feels like sometimes. So they're really going in and quoting the Youngblood case too. All right, Deputy McCraney's body-worn camera footage shows him looking inside Fosler's truck, where dash camera's illuminated screen is clearly seen. Both McCain and McCraney testified they saw the dash cam inside the truck, but did not document its existence in any evidence log, take any photographs of it, note its discovery, characteristics, or content in an incident report, or enter it into evidence in the case. Nothing. Absolutely nada. Wow. Y'all got that murder weapon though, didn't y'all? That's what y'all are calling it, second-degree murder. You got the weapon, right? Gun residue, powder on the man's hands, all the things. But the dash cam, the taking of a child, the threatening of a child, God knows doing what to a child, running from her father, screaming at her to get down. What'd y'all do with that evidence? Oh, it don't matter, does it? No, it don't matter. We got to protect that little pedophile person. Why? Why would you do all that? This is, I feel like this is a lot. This is extra. Why did that cop do all that? I can't help but ask that question. Why did y'all do? Why? They didn't bother to evidence log it, take any photographs of it, note its discovery, even not in their notes, and they didn't write about it in their incident report, which they would have relied upon their notes for the incident report. And Taylor taught me a thing or two. Wow, these actions. Wow, that's wild. These actions all serve to conceal the dash camera's existence. Why would they want to? They know that man in some way. Like, who was he in the town? Old ass. Camera's existence, its contents, and its destruction. McCain admitted that he collected the camera, but failed to document it, failed to log it into evidence, and failed to document his handling of it. He stored the camera in his office in the violation of evidence policies for tracking and storing information. The barcode of it all. Turvey, where you at? McCain purportedly watched portions of the footage alone in his office later the same morning without making any notation about doing so or about its contents. Wow. It makes you wonder how many other cases this man's been involved with that may be a little shady now. Might need a new eye, fresh eyes on them. Maybe. Just saying. The Brady list and stuff like that, right? McCain testified that he placed the SD card back into the dash cam, placed the camera in a manila envelope, and placed the envelope in his office cabinet, not in evidence. Oh, like he knew that was totally acceptable. Moreover, contrary to policy and routine practice, he did not mark the envelope to denote his accessing it and did not photograph the SD card or the dash cam itself. The dash camera then sat in McCain's office for over a month without any record of its existence. On November 14, 2024, LCSO Sergeant Carla Lucas took the dash camera to the AG's office at McCain's request. Wow. Okay. While McCain testified, he asked the AG's office to prioritize the examination of the dash cam. He claimed the AG's office did not look at it until July of 2025, 8 months later, despite him checking on the progress. AG examination of other items took far less time, and the AG had no other related items at the time. That is simply incredible. That is incredible. The fuck did I just read? The AG's office at some point, the dash camera did not have an SD card when it arrived, although McCain did not document this communication. Does this man still have a job? McCain's superior was not aware of the lost SD card for many months. There is still no report documenting any of these events. Defense counsel only first learned of the dash camera's existence on July 3, 2025, through the deputy prosecutor, who said officers had been searching for the SD card for months. Officers, like the cops that were there that had seen it and everything, and they're all like, this case is happening, and they're like, whatever happened to that? And we're searching and searching and searching, and a deputy DA brings it up, or AG, whatever the hell it is. Deputy prosecutor. Officers had been searching for the SD card for months, and McCain's like, oh, yeah, hang on a minute. I got that in my office. Y'all looking for that? I don't understand. That is certainly inconsistent with McCain's testimony that he only learned that the SD card was missing in July of 2025. When the dash camera was finally logged into evidence on October 16th of 2025, over a year after its discovery, it was made to look as though the dash camera was sent to the AG's office on October of 2024, consistent with the other digital evidence gathered on October 8th, when it was really held by what they The log was made to look as though the dash camera was sent to the AG's office on October 14th of 2024, which is consistent with the other digital evidence gathered early on October 8th. We all know it sat in McCain's office until November 14th, 2024. entries to evidence system to be near contemporaneous with the movement of the evidence. You fabricated that, man. Like they claim that in Idaho, but I don't know. I don't know about all that. But here, man, oh man. It was only entered into evidence in October of 2025 because it was returned from the AG's office with items from Fosler's residence that the LCSO sent to the AG's office in July. It came at the same time or along with evidence that came from Fosler's house? What kind of messy Marvin situation's going on down there in that evidence room? Clear and ambiguous evidence policies demanding it, he still, even at the point, did not document its return. The SD card was missing, or returned that the SD card was missing, or his manipulation of it before the AG received it. So he's like, yeah, none of that. Mistakes are one thing, but behaving as though evidence never existed for nearly a year, only to disclose that it no longer exists, omitting documentation and protocol dozens of times in between, is deliberate. Even more, McCain and his superiors attempted to justify McCain's manipulation of digital evidence, suggesting that it was accepted practice for McCain to examine this type of digital evidence himself. Okay, hold on. Is he about to be labeled the sheriff's office digital dude? Because a couple of departments will have that one cop. But does he normally do that from his home computer or private computer? Does it usually sit undocumented in his office forever and a day until somebody looks for it? I'm just saying. Suggesting that it was accepted practice for McCain to examine this type of evidence himself. Common sense and reality indicate this attempt at a post hoc justification for McCain's actions was misleading. Yeah, did he ever have to take a class on, examining digital evidence? Ever? Even Moscow had that one guy, but he was not from Moscow. He was from the other town. He was the digital examiner until the FBI got in town to look at it. First, the fact that that's how police departments work together. First, the fact that McCain sent the dash camera to the AG's office refutes any claim that it was customary for him to collect that type of evidence himself. If McCain was truly doing what he would normally do with cameras, he would have saved the data he found on the SD card as evidence, and there would have been no need for the AG's involvement. Right. He would have known what to do. He would have preserved that evidence without a doubt in every possible way that legally was required. It would have been by the book if he knew what he was doing and was used to examining that type of evidence. And if they have shitty computers at work and his at home was better, I suggest they buy him a new one. Hey, well, never mind. Never mind. They need to get him a new one. His manipulation of it without proper protocol and documentation before sending it forensic examination would defeat the purpose of the forensic examination and interfere with the proper chain of custody. That chain of custody is so important. Furthermore, records obtained after the pretrial hearing show that testimony by McCain and his superiors at this point is consistent with their actual practices. They testified it was not uncommon for McCain to examine evidence on cameras, and most comparably game cameras, instead of relying on the AG's examination. There's a difference, dudes. McCain admitted he is unfamiliar with dash cams and has never seized a dash camera. So what made him think he knew what the hell he was doing? No wonder he destroyed it, on top of destroying it by taking it with him. Lord, he acknowledged removing the SD card from a device is not familiar with the risk of destroying the data. He acknowledged removing the SD. He was not familiar with the risk for, removing the SD card. Then he should have left it alone, right? To preserve it until it got to somebody who knew what they were doing. He shouldn't have done anything to it at all, especially if he was very unsure about it. You just preserve it and you get it into evidence and let people who know what they're doing examine that evidence. That's how that works. Hit a wrong button and you format the whole card, he says. Wow. Yeah. Oops, he hit the wrong button and erased the whole damn thing. But at home, Pammy, I don't know. It says he viewed it on his personal or on his private computer. And he ended up destroying it. He's like, hit a wrong button and you format the whole card. He's never seized a dash camera. As it turns out, the LCSO does not routinely take hunting game cameras or SD cards into evidence, so McCain could not routinely view and obtain evidence from them. They do not. Okay. From 2021 through 2025, LCSO has taken no game cameras and only one SD card from a game camera or regular camera into evidence in the last 5 years. Holy shit. Take that. That's some research right there, man. They're like, hold up, he does what on routine? He takes these home and he's your digital data dude. Well, let's just see how many times he's actually reviewed this type of evidence. Let's go back a year. No, like 2? No, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we found 1. That's wild. Okay. Even if McCain viewed the one SD card from a game camera on his own 2 years prior in a breaking or entering investigation, that it is hardly a policy or practice for doing so within an undocumented dash cam. So what, he one time he viewed something? Wouldn't that be routine if it was a case you were investigating you needed to look at? Oh, good Lord. Insult our intelligence, you Mr. McCain. This is another effort to mislead and conceal the truth about the evidence, its contents, and the destruction in order to prevent Spencer from having the benefit of it for his defense. Was it McCain just that arrogant, egotistical, that this is irrelevant, I'll just take it to the office, throw it in an envelope, and put it in here for a month? And when I'll look at it, and then I'll tore it up. I broke it, and then maybe they'll all just forget about it now. Is that what happened? It was accident. He's just like, I hope nobody look for it later. Or why would you purposely go through all this trouble? Are you just an idiot? We've seen some bad cops lately, so I'm just saying, I don't have a lot of faith sometimes. McCain testified that he saw video formats on the SD card that are simply impossible. We read about that earlier, remember? For over a year, he consistently violated nearly every LCSO evidence policy and basic policy investigation procedure. His superiors did nothing to correct him or ensure compliance once they were made aware. Sabrina Atkins settled a lawsuit recently in Kentucky with Letcher County Sheriff's Department. sheriff's department failed to train their deputies properly. Just saying. The multiple flagrant policy violations which served to conceal the existence of the camera for over 9 months and continue to serve to conceal the circumstances of the dash camera's discovery, contents, and loss are enough to demonstrate bad faith. McCain even acknowledged knowing those policies and their purpose to protect the integrity of the evidence. Yet he is unable to provide any legitimate explanation for violating nearly all of them. Of course he has no legitimate explanation. I just did what I normally would do, took it and viewed it and accidentally broke it. Sorry. End of story. McCain's inability, but that wasn't the end of it. He lied about it and covered it up later. McCain's inability to provide any explanation for this or for the loss of the evidence, along with his false or misleading testimony about the contents of the SD card, and his practice of handling his type of evidence himself, support bad faith. McCain's conduct and testimony show an intentional effort to conceal the evidence, its destruction, and its exculpatory value to deprive Spencer of it. The state cannot rely on policy, mistake, or lack of knowledge like the officers in Lewis and Clark's. McCain is a detective and was responsible for this investigation, including the evidence at the scene, yet neither he nor the state have offered any reasonable explanation for the multitude of successive instances of misconduct related to the dash camera. There is no evidence to support mere negligence or carelessness here that might explain a failure to strictly adhere to a policy or two, but it cannot excuse violations of policy from the first moment the dash cam was discovered through the entire year that followed. The failure to put the evidence in the evidence tracking system for a year is intentional. Oh. It is noticeable that the most significant piece of evidence was not listed at all. Failing to note the seizure of the dash camera, review it, and loss of it for a week might be a mistake, but for a year or more, and then entering as showing transferred out shortly after the shooting, and no mention anywhere of its manipulation or loss, is intentional concealment of wrongdoing. Yeah, that's pretty heavy. Testifying that it had no evidentiary value despite the impossibility of seeing such data, excusing the tampering by falsely suggesting it was routine or intentional and bad faith. If LCSO officials' conduct in this case does not demonstrate bad faith, then it's essentially impossible for a defendant to make a sufficient showing of bad faith short of an officer saying, "I'm going to violate this defendant's due process right." Oh, Lord, back up. Hold on. If LCSO officials' conduct in this case does not demonstrate bad faith, then it is essentially impossible for a defendant to make a sufficient showing of bad faith short of an officer saying, "I'm going to violate this defendant's due process rights." Pretty much that's what he did when he decided to take matters into his own hands. He absolutely violated his rights to due process. If the court declines to dismiss the charges based on due process violations, a spoliation or missing evidence instruction is warranted. The Arkansas Supreme Court has not foreclosed the possibility of a spoliation instruction in a criminal case. Thus, for Arkansas, jurisprudence on this issue is addressed in Court of Appeals, decision explaining why proffered instructions were not accurate statements of law. There is not a model spoliation instruction in the Arkansas model jury instructions. Criminal, but the court may give a non-model instruction when it finds that the model instructions do not contain a needed instruction on the subject. A party is entitled to a jury instruction when it is a correct statement of the law and where there is some basis and evidence to support giving the instruction. They cite the Autry case, and the Court of Appeal said a spoliation instruction is designed to remedy litigation misconduct. Giving it would mean the state behaving improperly, and it would depend on whether the state was obligated to preserve the evidence or acted in bad faith. So, like, was it an accident or bad faith, right? Because they're all out saying it seems like it was bad faith from the beginning, because you can't just excuse this as accidental stuff that with all that happened with it. Like they said, over the past year, the chain of evidence alone and the fudging of the chain of evidence was bad enough. The court explained that the proffered spoliation instruction in Autry, like that proffered in Long, failed to require a jury finding of bad faith to justify application of an adverse inference. Okay, going down significantly in the Long court. Significantly, a Long court compliant instruction would permit but not require the jury to find due process violation. Giving it would not mean the state behaved improperly. So there's cited the different cases where this has been brought forth before, right? And does the jury have to have an instruction about the bad faith to determine if the state behaved improperly, right? Based upon that, but would allow the jury to consider whether it did so. Thus, Spencer argues if there is evidence from which a jury could find the evidence apparently exculpatory and without a comparable replacement, or potentially exculpatory. So what would they do? Come out and explain to the jury that this evidence would have been presented? Here's what it may have betrayed. Now you decide if it's exculpatory. What? Huh? Thus, Spencer argues if there is evidence from which a jury could find the evidence apparently exculpatory and without a comparable replacement, or potentially exculpatory, but lost or destroyed in bad faith, the instruction should be given. But how do we know he lost and destroyed in bad faith? What if he really just like screwed it all up, right? And he's like, oh shit, I shouldn't have never done that, and I knew better. Now I got to cover it all up. Or did you have bad faith all along from the minute you got on scene? Why would you do that? Why would you bad faith from the minute you got on scene, right? And act like it didn't exist. Pretend that camera in that truck does not exist until last minute. And then don't even document it for a whole ass year. What? The numerous violations of the policy and common sense, the concealment, the great prejudice caused to Spencer by the loss or destruction of this crucial evidence demands at least the potential for a remedy. The actions, there should be a remedy. The judge should be like dismissed based on that alone. We're already wondering what we're doing here. Maybe. I get it. You're just not allowed to kill people. But self-defense, fear for life, somebody's coming at you in a heated situation, and given the circumstances, the actions by LCSO as outlined herein constitute misconduct and certainly improper behavior, and evidence a lengthy pattern of it. Basic negligence or recklessness cannot explain the magnitude of the repeated policy violations and intentional manipulations, omissions, and efforts to ensure this evidence is not available at trial. Courts have been willing to depart from the strict bad faith requirement when the remedy is a missing evidence instruction rather than the dismissal of charges. Courts have been willing to depart from the strict bad faith requirement when the remedy is a missing evidence instruction rather than the dismissal of charges, as was at issue with Youngblood. I really got to jump into that case one day and read the legal stuff about it. It's brought up too many times. Kind of like when Ann Taylor kept bringing up Lori Vallow in that one case. She tried to get the same prosecutorial misconduct going on for her, but she never got there like Lori did. Negligent or reckless loss of evidence may critically prejudice a defendant. It is also the effect of encouraging destruction of evidence that then renders it only potentially useful, since its contents are unprovable. This leaves no remedy for defendants who are unable to prove bad faith but suffer the loss or destruction of evidence that is so critical to the defense to make the trial fundamentally unfair, as to make the trial fundamentally unfair. And again, they cite the Youngblood case. Okay. This document is about over. Spencer has attached two proposed spoliation instructions. The first instruct the jury on the Trombata and Youngblood standards as discovered in Autry and Long. Now, guys, I'm not an attorney. Y'all know that, right? But the Defense Diaries are, I like me some Allie. I like Bob, but I love me some Allie. They, I think, went live earlier with this document, but they will also probably run all of this down tomorrow, right? And mods, again, if y'all want to drop that link for anybody who may not have it or just joined, a lot of you may be already aware they're going to be doing a big fundraiser tomorrow for the Aaron Spencer family. I don't know if it's just for the family, defense funds, what all is happening. A lot of guests are lined up, one every hour, I believe. They're going to run 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., from what I understand. So if that's something that interests you, you're online sometime tomorrow, go check that out. I know I'll be in and out of it probably all day because I want to hear all about the case. And I'm sure that with the lineup that they have, they'll probably get into some good conversations about the case, right? As well as a lot of other things too. So we will certainly get into that tomorrow. Again, that's it's 10 a.m., but I'm Central. I think that I don't know what time. Yeah. I don't do clocks and calendars. Don't ask me to translate. I think it's 10 a.m. Central. So y'all figure it out when you go turn your bell on. You'll see. This instruction represents the most stringent standard possible for the jury to impose an adverse inference, and they can break down all this law stuff for you guys, of course. It requires findings of apparent exculpatory value or bad faith. Spencer also proffers a second proposed spoliation instruction representing a compilation of instructions employed by other states. I'd like to hear that attorneys break this part down tomorrow, and they have that schedule on the Defense Diaries X account. They have the schedule posted with who's going to come on at each hour. And I know David Yanetti's also going to be on, and a few other attorneys, but I really enjoy him. So I'm going to try to make sure that I'm on during that hour for that conversation. I'm like a geek about the law stuff sometimes, so I love to listen to them talk about that kind of stuff. Well, certain people talk about that kind of stuff. Spencer also proffers a second proposed spoliation instruction representing a compilation of the instructions employed by other states. Okay. Spencer asserts that when the Arkansas Supreme Court ultimately decides this issue, it should consider fashioning an evidentiary instruction under state law that does not impose the Youngblood standard, where the loss of evidence is intentional and avoidable, and or contrary to the other deputies responsible, or other duties, I said deputies, other duties responsible for the party who caused the loss, and the evidence is material. I love to hear Allie explain the law and get into the law when Allie gets on a roll. Allie Mata. She's like so damn down to earth. That's what I like about Allie Mata. She's a mom, she's a lawyer, and hell, she's just one of you. That's what she comes across as to me anyway, in my opinion. I feel like she's a girl I could just meet and be like, hey, cool chick, what's up? At this stage, Spencer asked for either instruction with any variation as bracketed in the proffered instructions, holding to the strictest interpretation of the Arkansas Court of Appeals cases. This court would give the instruction in Exhibit 15. Okay. Wow. This channel reads a lot of court documents, but it's been a minute since I read one that long. It's been a minute. We've read some long court documents around here. Ugh, I need a drink. Can y'all hold on one second, guys? Ugh. I was sitting with my legs crossed, and now I don't know if I can stand up. Y'all give me 1 second. We'll go grab a drink real quick, and I'll be right back. What's the saying? Semi, walk and talk, chat, walk and talk. Y'all, I'll be right back. I had this little thing where I could play like coffee break, I'll be right back kind of thing, but the one time I played it on a test run, it said I couldn't play it. It's some kind of copyright bullshit, so I got to change my music on it. And I've been known to throw up a coffee break sign so people who might stumble in will wonder what's going on. Like, why is it silent? They'll see that, and then I'll forget to take it down when I come back, and my mods have to remind me. Thank you, Simi. I'll be right back, guys. That was a Coca-Cola break, not quite a coffee break. That's a cold Coke. I hit the spot. I didn't get water like I should have. Oh, man. Everybody in this house is asleep. I was kind of surprised. I went in there. I'm like, oh, they're all asleep. Let's see here. Good. Oh, Kimberly, thank you for joining us. Thank you. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. Yes, thanks everyone for coming in and tuning in and chilling with us. Yannetti and Betteros should be good. I know who Bettero is, right? Obviously, Rach, but I'd never listened to him a lot, so I don't. I just haven't. I have a couple times, but Yannetti more so. But it's a great lineup. We'll look at the lineup again, and we'll show you guys. It's on the Defense Diaries YouTube channel tomorrow, and then the X account is posting as well. Let's see if anything. Let's troll the twits for a moment. I could actually take the schedule and post it to my YouTube post. Actually, I need to do that. Okay. You can get it from Defense Diaries Twitter and Ali Law Mata also. Here's Stand with the Spencers, a fundraiser for Aaron Spencer and family. Saturday, May 23rd, 2026, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Central. 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern. So there's your times, guys. 10 a.m. tomorrow Central Time, 11 Eastern will be the lineup or the time starting, and then they go through the entire list of the guests. 1 hour one looks like they're going to have, when they have Yannetti on for that hour, he's the only one scheduled. A couple of them have 2 or 3 people a piece, in the hours. So awesome. We'll get that posted over to the community tab too, in case anybody wants to grab it and take a look. Thank you. There you go. Butterfly linked it in the comment section. I realize some people don't do X or have X accounts or go on X often, so I can also post it, but you guys can grab it from there as well. But yeah, you guys tune in tomorrow to that if you're on the streets. I won't be streaming tomorrow, but Sunday I might, because there are some more things we want to get to. It may not be till Monday. Who knows? I don't know. But I will be around tomorrow. Y'all probably see me in the chat around there and maybe other places as well. And y'all know to be safe on them YouTube streets and all the good things out there. And wow, this case is crazy, and it's really, it's way different than a lot of cases we look at, right? Where somebody horrible walks into a person's life and just does something. This is a completely different situation. What was that one case? Was it back in, it happened not long after Idaho 4, right before Idaho 4. And the neighbor was doing stuff, exposing himself through the window to the daughters. And so the dad went over to confront, and yeah, something horrible happened. The same kind of, this reminds me of that. Yes, everybody take care and have a good, safe weekend. It rained here a lot today, and then it got really pretty for a while, and they say there's more coming, so you guys stay weather aware and be safe and all that good stuff. Get yourself some sleep and get some rest, and we will catch you on the flip side. If I don't see you by Sunday, then I will catch you come Monday. You guys have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you later.
Thank you all for watching this here video.